All right, back on SR-76. I've got, I have this carpet, and it isn't exactly what I need. You can see it's almost like a thick felt, and then the carpet on the car, of course, is loop pile. You can see that. So I don't want to finish the car off in this. I'm going to have to get another roll of the nylon loop. But I thought what I would do, rather than do the carpet on here like the last one was, and it actually had carpet on it and then it had a frame, had carpet on it and it had a frame. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut this pretty thick felt. It's thick stuff. I'm going to cut that and I'm going to glue it onto here. I'm going to let it overlap the hinge screws a little bit, but not glue that. I'm going to glue this part down and leave it. And then eventually I'll cut the holes for the locks. But I think that's what I'm going to do with this. Rather than put the full pile carpet on there was what it originally had. And I can show you pictures of it. I got a video when I took it apart. But I think that's what I'm going to do. These measure 12 and a half by 10 and a half, the two big ones, and this one's 10 and a half by 8 and a half, I think. So I think I'm just going to try to cut these smooth. It cuts fairly easy, as long as you got good shears, and I do. So I think that's what I'm going to do with those. Little Loctite adhesive spray. I did a test strip here to make sure it didn't soak through, and it's looking pretty good. So I think that's going to look really good. We'll get it tacked down there. It's got a little couple trim spots I got to do real quick. I think that's going to be perfect. Okay, looking pretty good. Gonna dry. Be ready to go tomorrow to cut the holes in for the locks. I have new locks. Catches, they're not really locks. I think one's a lock. But looks pretty good. Okay, so I want to take a minute and show you the best way to punch a hole in it. First, let me show you the end results. Sorry for the smoke, it's going to get smoky. That's a fairly nice hole, and the lock will cover the rest. But I want to show you how, and I think I've showed this once before with carpet. I want you to see it again. So you can see this is the hole still covered. Soldering iron. Now this one's been abused for carpet use, but if you take it and you kind of just poke it through the hole here, it'll make it nice. You can actually just draw a trace around. Sure, the fumes are toxic, so wear a mask. And this kind of smooths the edges a little bit. It makes for a pretty nice hole. Now this stuff is hot, so don't touch it afterwards. If you do, touch it with pick it up with something. Oops. Break that stuff. So hold on a second. Lots of smoke. some tweezers to pull the old stuff out. You can see there how it got kind of hard. That stuff's hot. Do a little bit more on this edge right here, make it nice and round. There's your tip for the day. Use a soldering iron, and you can clean it up afterwards. A little bit of sandpaper will clean it up nicely. That might work. Okay, so I'm going to let this cool a little bit. And then take a little sandpaper to it when it gets a little bit cooler. And we'll get all that stuff off. Remember, it's hot. You can cause a fire. Be careful. I don't know if you can see. There it is, all nice and clean. No longer black and crappy. A little bit of sandpaper before it gets too cool, and it comes right off. Nice round holes.